season.
Game face.
The boys are back with even bigger flips, more demo, more laughs,
Remove those
and even more surprises than before. Go flip yourself. Tuesdays at 9.
Don't sing if you want to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world.
Yeah, let's
Here we go.
do it.
Let's do it. Come on, do it.
Come on, do it. Now
Kill me, I'm here. Kill me.
I'm here.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, record.
Record.
You're listening to the League Podcast, the Vampire Council, What We Do in the Shadows podcast. We're doing Season 4, Episode 8, Go Flip Yourself. I'm Matt Dursin.
Clay Inferno here.
Well, here we are, already Episode 8. The season is flying by. Or, well, technically flew by.
Technically, it is over. But,
But
yeah,
don't tell anyone.
As we record this, though, I have not seen the season finale. So, coming back at you with the rest of the season, of course. We decided this season to really break out all of the episodes into their own podcast as much as we could.
Right, right.
So that's what we're getting now. So we're at a Go Flip Yourself GFY.
This
GFY, Jason.
GFY. This might be one of my all-time favorite episodes of the whole series of all 4 seasons.
Yeah, I'm with
this you. This is right up there. It's just like the idea. So if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler warning. But you should not listen to this podcast if you haven't watched this. But so first of all, this goes back to the first episode where Laszlo was watching this sort of Property Brothers style show.
Right. In the background, they made a couple of gags about it. We even talked about it, but we didn't expect to see a whole episode like this.
Yeah, no, and it is literally it's filmed exactly like one of those stupid like reality show. I don't spend a lot of time watching those kinds of shows, but you know, I get it. I know.
I think that like the earlier in the episode, like, or later in the episode, like the people that watch that are like people in hospital waiting rooms and stuff like that. Like that's I've seen. Like I feel like maybe if I were to go back like 10, 15 years, when I used to have cable like in my room and would just like watch whatever, I did kind of get it so that I could watch like Doctor Who when it was on Sci-Fi, like really on TV or whatever. But like I would turn on like a dumb fixer up this house thing. I couldn't even tell you. It would just be like kind of on as in the background as I like went to sleep or something. You know what I mean? It's like a weird thing. I never got really into
on. It's like a 24-hour thing, I feel like, too. Like anytime you want to watch something, you could always watch one of those because they're always on. But yeah, I think my former roommate and a friend of yours, Christine, used to
friend of the show.
Watch. Yeah, friend of the pod, I guess. Yeah,
related to the show.
Yeah, related to the pod. But yeah, she used to watch stuff like this. So that's really my only connection.
And it's kind of like it's not like you didn't watch it because it was probably on and you were like eating dinner or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you probably just sat through a bunch of episodes but weren't really paying attention.
Yeah, and it's not something I go out of my way to be like, oh, hey, look what's on now. But I mean, it's always like, white people and, like they're like very white and they're always just like, oh, I don't know if their home is going to be ready for whatever, but they did this so perfectly. Even the way it's shot, like it looks different. It's on video, it seems like, or something, I don't know how they filmed it.
Yeah, well, they did a lot of those little, and it's funny because when John and I have the same software, the video software, and like I buy plugins for it a lot, and a lot of the things are like almost like avoid the noid or like press your luck, like the little little animations, like a guy comes out and like smashes something with a hammer. Like you could just buy that animation and put it in a thing. And they put a bunch of stuff like that in here, plus like 3D animated, like, like this is what the house will look like.
Right.
Or do you actually, here's the thing for, I don't know if your wife watches British baking show.
I mean, we've seen it. Yeah.
So they do a thing where the contestants will draw like a fancy cake how they want it to look, and then they give it to somebody, and that person like renders like a 3D version of it, and then they like show that like we hope it's gonna look like this, and so they do that like on these kinds of shows, and they do it in this show tonight. So funny.
It really is just hilarious. Like, what a premise. I can't even imagine any other show being able to pull this off. Like I don't know how to even describe it. I'm a big Seinfeld guy, of course. And like they did things like they did an episode that was backwards, which actually wasn't that good in retrospect, or they did the episode. Oh, the whole episode is them waiting for a table in a Chinese food, a Chinese restaurant, or the whole episode is looking for the car. Like that was pretty innovative back then.
Those are bottle episodes, right?
Right. But nobody had really done a lot of those kinds of things. But like this is completely out there. I mean, I love this. This was so good. And like you couldn't do this on Friends or anything. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it only works here.
And these brothers, the Sklar brothers, are you familiar with them?
I know they're on It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, they're in a bunch of stuff, cameos in movies and TV shows, and they had like comedy shows on like ESPN and stuff. They're really pretty like they're popular. Oh, they were in this thing, the Bajillion Dollar Properties, which was basically like the same concept. Which was, look at that, they had 4 seasons of that, and it had Tawny Newsome, who just sent me a shirt in the mail, I gotta say,
very good.
From Star Trek Lower Decks. But our favorite Paul F. Tompkins was also in this show, Bajillion Dollar Properties, which is like totally like a send up on it was probably on Hulu or Netflix or something, like doing this exact thing, But except here we are with vampires. So it's like, even if it's like taking just that show and applying it to here, it's unlike anyone's ever seen before. And this has obviously like a bigger mainstream audience than that thing did.
Well, it's only one of them, we should point out, because which one is it? Toby gets eaten very, very early.
Yeah. But they do a lot of flashbacks and stuff with him in it, and like in the whole intro is hilarious. He's like they take like a bunch of B-roll from like there's like Staten Island, like home of the famous Staten Island Ferry. They show like B-roll, and it's like the sun is setting here at Staten Island. And, our owners have really unusual hours working for a nightclub and the railroad.
Yeah, they work for the railroad or whatever.
That started back a couple episodes ago. When Guillermo was talking to his cousin, it's like he was working at Panera Bread, and then he's working at the railroad, and then Laszlo told Sean when they were driving up to the campsite, like, we have to be back by sunup on Sunday.
I know, they couldn't. It's like,
we have to work at the railroad.
Yeah. Doesn't he say one of them? They say is a graphic designer or something, or I forget which one. I don't know.
Oh, Laszlo. Oh, because it's funny when he's like pretending to like. He's like, this printer doesn't work, and he's just tapping it with his hand. And then when Nandor is pretending to cook, and he's just like smashing it with the like broccoli with a machete, and the food's flying everywhere like Swedish Chef.
I love that Laszlo is in his like Jackie Daytona, sort of his jeans and his flannel shirt.
Yeah, and then Guillermo's like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" It's like, fuck on a shop.
Laszlo, I mean, Matt Berry is off the charts in this one. He is I mean, he's always funny, but he really shines in this episode because he's the one who's a big fan of these guys, and yeah, so he brings them in. But there's a great one of their talking head shots where they're burying Toby in the backyard or in the front yard, even. I don't know. They're burying Toby in the yard, and meanwhile, the guy, Brand, the surviving brother, is just talking. Like
he's like, my brother Toby's feeling a little under the weather because Nadia eats him.
Yeah, I love it. She says, and then she like hypnotizes him into not remembering it, and she says, "A girl's gotta eat."
That's one of the funniest lines too. I'm glad you picked that up on that too. I was like, "A girl's," the way she says, "A girl's got to eat."
Girl's got to eat. Yeah. So I mean,
what
they
dumb
go
names too, Bran and Toby, because they go through a whole, like, the production on this is crazy because they like film a whole like regular introduction to the actual show. You know what I mean? Like they put as much effort into like making a fake flip this house intro as they did the whole episode. It
is. It's like the whole thing. It's a whole show. It's like watching an episode of whatever. Go Flip Yourself. It just happens to have these. Happens to have our vampires in it. But yeah, I mean, they go through the whole thing, and so I guess the B storyline kind of is Nandor is pretty much at the end of his rope with Marwa in this one.
Yeah, because he wished her to have the same likes as his interests and hers are the same.
Yeah, so she agrees with everything that he says and everything he thinks. But yeah, they want to make this this sort of man cave, but she has like these ideas for it. But I love it. He said something about like you can't change anything, but I do like the sign that says "Home is where the wine is." Let's keep that.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous. But
well, like Nandor is really like into all these little suggestions and stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's like, wow.
Yeah, he's all into the house being like redone. He loves it. I love that. So yeah, there's like a bar up there. It has those seats that are like saddles that you see in some places.
Right, yeah, like old horse saddles converted into bar stools.
Bar stools.
But also, who's alive? Yeah, Toby's dead, but Bran's the alive one.
Bran is alive. Bran Daltrey.
Yeah, so Bran is like, just feel this, mahogany desk, and then like basically Nandor's like, oh yeah, I could feel gripping it, and a man comes behind me and just and Bran's like, oh, okay, well, let's check out the rug. Because, like, he's such an idiot. Well, he's hypnotized by the vampires, but not once does he break character from his TV show host thing. Like, he's not ever just himself, like, regularly talking to them. Like, he's just an idiot. Like, it's so funny.
This is how he is, like in life.
Yeah,
the cameras are on or off, although I guess we don't know because cameras are all basically always on. But yeah, it's just like, but yeah, like they have different
like
things.
My brother Toby has a mild flu.
Yeah,
and they're like Nandor and Guillermo in the background, like burying him.
Yeah, and of course Guillermo is afraid that they're gonna figure out like what's going on, or someone is gonna, they're gonna come into the house and figure out like that they're not real people.
Like don't dig up the yard.
Yeah,
right. You're gonna
He's nervous.
Dig up the yard.
I know. It's just it's really good. Nadia wants a gold toilet, even though she doesn't actually use it. Right?
Yeah, I think Guillermo mentions. That's like one of those like show rules, like like the vampire rules or whatever. Like they don't they don't shit. I guess what do they do? They just process the blood and it turns into energy, and then they burn those blood calories and just
I guess so. Yeah,
just burn off.
Sure. I mean, we don't know the science, but that's okay. I mean, They don't have to go to the bathroom. That's all we know. But she still wants a gold toilet.
He's like, you can have a gold toilet. She's like, yes.
Ooh.
And Guillermo's like, you don't really need it. And she's like, don't quit fucking with my brand.
So, yeah, I mean, I can't even remember. There was this constant, like, if you got to really pay attention to this episode. There's just so much stuff. A lot of it's in the background or just like a funny little throwaway thing that had me cracking up. But
there's 1,000 things in the background.
Yeah, this episode is just ridiculous.
Chock full of Easter eggs all over the place.
Yeah.
I've seen it like 3 times and I still pick up new stuff.
And like I said, I'm not a fan of those shows, but like I know enough to know how they are, and they got this down to like a T.
Yeah, hyper exaggerated.
Yeah. But I mean, like, this is how all reality shows kind of have that element of like the editing. Like you could tell like the way they're edited and stuff, and if you watch enough, you're kind of like, well, that's not.
They totally make a mockery of it because they do all the tropes, like they like just will show a little scene that they showed earlier in the episode, but make it in black and white and like put an echo on the voice, like
you're right,
my gold toilet, or what, it's like how are they gonna decide?
Yeah, it's like, oh no, like there's always some kind of like ticking clock or something, where it's like, oh no, is it gonna?
They're gonna have to decide between the blah 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 and the blah blah blah.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't really know what they were deciding in this.
I don't really, yeah.
But they did have to make a decision. They did have to say something. I forget what it was. And there was even like there's even like product placement ads and stuff.
Yeah, right. There were ads. But that's the thing, like, that's how these reality shows work. They have to edit in such a way to make it seem like there's some kind of conflict or something when it's really just like, all right, sure, do that. Like, or like you said, like baking a cake or whatever. It's like, where's the conflict? But they somehow create it. But here's the real hook in this episode. Spoiler warning. This whole thing, in fact, 150 episodes of Go Flip Your
right, yeah,
is just it's all a long con so that Simon the Devious can get into Laszlo's house and steal the witch hat. That's it.
Now, I know we don't like to go back and listen to our old episodes, and frankly, no one listens, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. Not only do we not listen, but nobody listens.
Yeah, so, but basically, I think I said as much as, well, I did like, I was like, oh, I saw like a little bit of next week's, and it was just it was just the Go Flip Yourself, kind of like I saw a little bit of the trailer, and I was like, stop, turn it off. But yeah, so anyways, I think I had said in an earlier episode, I think Nick Kroll is going to come back in a big way with something to get the hat. Or I might not have mentioned the hat, but I was like, I bet he's coming back as a guest star at least, because I try not to look to see who the guests are or whatever. So I'm glad to see him, Simon the Devious.
You were right. Nick Kroll was back, but it's so funny. Like he's all like bragging about how he did all
and
this.
You wouldn't have thought that was really a fucking long con joke. Like right. This whole episode.
150. Like he set up this whole show when they said like, you did all that just to get your hands on this hat. He's like, well, yes. And he had all these other vampires with him. Yeah, like
his same crew from the other seasons. I think it's just like
was it the same?
Yeah, it's like the same. Like it's like this Greg the Silent or whatever. He's like, hey guys. He's like, keep it silent.
The silent one, yeah.
The silent one.
Count Rapula.
And then, that was Ultimate Dursin rap. Did you hear him? He's like, while you're sitting on your thrones, I got my boom mic. I'm trying to get room tone, parlor tricks, and I got the XLR mic cables. And they're like, all right, cut it out.
All right,
all right, Ultimate Dursin Rapula, Elvis,
Elvis,
his zombie accountant.
I mean, and all these
And
people.
also the COO of my production company. Yeah, you should explain the how he does like the whole thing about all the seasons leading up to getting how it is like a long con, right?
Well, they just said like I don't know how they. Yeah, he started this show, made it like a thing that like I don't know, like Laszlo would watch. They mentioned, I think they said 150. They did 150 episodes, like, or something like that, just to get him, just to get in his house,
to get the hat.
Just get that. I know, to get that, to be invited in. I guess that's part of it too, right? Because vampires,
right.
as we know,
and that's a rule. That's a hard
in.
rule on the show.
Yep.
But also, yeah, no, you should. Like the other part of it was that there about Toby. You remember the thing he said about Toby?
Wow, what did I say? Did I say something?
No, do you remember what Simon the Devious said about Toby?
No, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
So this is a hilarious. He's like, it's like, well, what about Toby? Because they're all confused when he like takes. He's like, I stole the hat and blah,
right,
blah, blah. And then he's like, you know, I killed one of your, or I think Nadia says like, I killed one of your crew or something. He's like, or you know, we killed Toby. And she's like, well, actually, no, he wasn't a vampire. He was just he was a naval flight instructor. And I think
I didn't remember that.
Yeah. And then he goes, I think with three children now without the father. And he's like, I pitched him the show, and then we, I sent him to school so that he could learn architecture and design, and then we made 150 episodes of the show, like you said, and then like so Guillermo goes, why didn't you just find somebody that knew how to do those things?
I know, they find this guy,
and he's like, no, you need an it factor. So yeah, like they make it really bad because Nadia just killed a regular human instead of a vampire.
Oh well, but yeah, I mean, like it's so good. Like, but I love it. Even they're even kind of like, wait, you did all that, and he's kind of like, well, yeah. Like I mean, like I guess when you're a vampire, it doesn't matter how many years, right? Because you live forever anyway.
Yeah, and that. But the funny thing was that like they're brothers or something. Like, why did he like make himself look like Toby's twin brother or whatever? And like, you know what I mean? Like, none of that makes any sense. Like, he convinced Toby to do all of this stuff. I guess maybe I guess regular vampire hypnotism. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that.
He's a powerful vampire in New York,
and he's devious. He is very devious.
And then I think Laszlo goes. He goes, you don't mean shit. You're not in New York City anymore. And then but Nicole does. He says it like Matt Berry would say it too. He goes, I know I'm not from New York City anymore. It's just so funny.
I know, what a brilliant. Like I would just. It was good. It was so good. Like the whole episode, the whole Property Brothers thing, and then all of a sudden.
And then Marwa basically, like upstairs in the man cave, like locks Nandor out of the man cave because she likes the same things that Nandor does. So she wants to be locked. Nandor wants to be locked away from Marwa,
away from
in
her,
his man cave. But basically because it's like a complicated, like double negative math thing, because he wants to be away from her, so she thinks that she wants to be away from him, so she locks herself in the soundproof attic.
But he kind of likes the man cave. He wants to be in there. Right?
Yeah, he wants to be in here, but now like, and then I think he goes like they kind of like cut away and fade away. It's like, I think maybe I suspect that Marwa was making the man cave for herself. And Brandon's like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. It's him like sitting in it's such a great like man cave too. It's so like it's got the roof. You know, you've probably seen apartments, right? Where there's roofs.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? The slanted ceilings.
before we, not at this place, but our other place, we looked at like maybe 2 other places before we moved into our first apartment together. But there was this one place that was really, really cool, but it was on the top floor and there was like pitched roofs in every room.
Oh,
so
I know.
I was just
hate
like,
that.
we can't do it. I mean, we just physically can't do it. Like
Right.
the rent is good, and there was like a weird hot tub situation in there that would have been cool.
Oh.
But I think we probably would have been annoyed, like after like a week.
Yeah, because if
You're
you
like, watch
can't
your head.
stand, right? I mean, like, but they always try to sell it like, 3-bedroom,
Unique.
but 1 bedroom is one of those slanty room things or something, or 2 bedrooms.
It reminds me of Brady Bunch when Greg moved upstairs. You know?
I think they even maybe mention it when they're talking about the man cave, though, that's one of the things. Oh, yeah, we're going to turn this into the whatever with the slanted roof.
Yeah,
But yeah, I never would go for that. We looked at places that had that too, and I'm like, no, this doesn't count. This isn't a room. This was an attic.
It's not a room.
Turned into a room. It's not a room.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. This one hits all the high notes. I don't know what else.
Classic it's one of the best ever.
This
episodes. And anytime they do something really different, it really they get to do kind of like a meta commentary on blah 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 blah, like pop culture and blah 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 blah. But like, it's fucking hilarious, and it's like groundbreaking in a way that only they can be.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what this was. Like I said, you couldn't really do this on any other episode. Or any other sitcom or anything. I don't watch a lot of other shows, I guess, but I can't imagine. Like I said, Friends.
It's self-parody meta in the way that why The Simpsons is funny even after all these. They do like something like, just like like. I don't know, maybe South Park too, but like more like The Simpsons. Like we're just gonna do this, and you're gonna have to deal with it.
Well, I guess because like they've been on for so long, they're like, well, we can do whatever we want. But
they can do whatever they want. Like last night we watched like probably 5 little Simpsons Disney Plus shorts that are all hilarious, and like one's with Billie Eilish, and one's was the plus-iversary thing, and like they all have these funny signs that say like, like this is what happens when Disney buys like Fox, like the all stuff jokes about the mouse and like everything like, and fucking Disney bought like everything, so they literally put like the Avengers next to like Max Rebo, it's like everybody.
Right. Yeah, no, that's what the Simpsons writers have always been so good at, and it's the same thing here, the same style of comedy. You know what I mean? Where you take something that's real, but you put your spin on it, basically. And you kind of make fun of it. Well, they're definitely making fun of the way those shows are constructed. And but they did it so well. It's so perfect. There's a line that I really love. Yeah, where Laszlo says, "This house is all kinds of Frank Lloyd wrong."
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
There was like another awesome Laszlo line because there was like even because they wrote the shit out of the setup to when Simon the Devious was like how he got the other guy to do it and how they made all that stuff. Like you could tell the writer's room was just like going nuts. Like, oh, what else would need to happen? Even like, do you remember when they were like, when not just like, they had to do a flashback so that anybody that had seen this episode of Go Flip Yourself was like hypnotized to forget that they were vampires or whatever.
Right.
And she's like, and then the editors, and then who else is there?
Right.
Oh, editors, assistants, editors, assistants, color corrector. Some guys, the producer's girlfriend Wendy gave notes once, so she gives notes every time now. And she's just like, all of you nerds watching this.
No, they really it's just It's incredible. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's all.
you're gonna pick a favorite episode of the season.
This would be my favorite episode.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we got for this one. But
Yeah,
there
great.
will be others.
Listen to our previous episodes leading up to this as we head on to the penultimate episode next, and
That's
then we'll
right.
get to the finale. It's very soon, but
Very soon.
leakpodcast.com, right? What are we saying these days?
Leakpodcast.com or
We should write a script like other podcasts have. Read us out, Dursin. Read us out.
Well, leakpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Stitcher, Spotify, Apple. Are we on Amazon? Did that Amazon podcast thing ever really happen?
Yes, I think we're up there. Because I just a lot of these things are like, please send us your existing podcast RSS feed, and we will insert our ads and never give you money for it.
Exactly. Sometimes we get pennies when you listen. So
and the one I was using doesn't. So go to anchor.fm.
Oh yeah, Anchor. We
Matt
literally get
pennies. Dursin, I think it's in our Instagram bio. That's how we like to tell people to listen to us. Or on Spotify. It's the same company, Anchor and Spotify.
You're right, Anchor.
But we're also Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. This episode was fact checked by no one, engineered by no one, recorded by somebody. Sent through some software, uploaded to
the White Stripes. Ding, 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 ding. I'm thinking of Conan O'Brien there.
Incidental music by Jimmy Vino.
That's the word.
Because like he's like could probably ask Jack White, can you just play that, but like riff it out a little bit? I'm gonna put it in like a little bit of segments, and he's just like, no, Jimmy, you know what? I saved myself a few bucks here and some time.
Hey, Jimmy Vino,
your weekend. Give me some more podcast. Hey, give me some of that.
They're doing this podcast. I don't know what that is, but can you write some music for it? Sure.
I picture but Conan being like Tony Soprano, and then Jimmy Vino being like Sil.
Yeah.
Make me some incidental music.
Incidental music, yeah.
Well, that's enough of that nonsense. Let's move on to the next episode.
All right. Well, talk to you guys later. Are you ready? Here we go. We got to do the thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Are we go? Who count? Am I counting? Or are you counting?
Why don't you count this time?
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Back.
Good enough.
All right.
For rock and roll.
It's one of the hardest guitar pieces in the world to play.